Good evening again, to our brothers out there in viewer land. We want to say welcome to another edition of my Lutheran Connections. This is a program where we discuss all things Lutheran. Today, we have with us fully on set our dear brother and friend, Brother Josiah Joka. He's joining us from our studios there in Connecticut. Um, our dear brother and friend, Abel Lewally, is joining us from our studios there in Monrovia. And also, our ambassador is joining us from Freetown, Sierra Leone, our studio in Freetown, Sierra Leone. My name is Willie Cowboy. I'm joining you from Atlanta, Georgia studio, and the Reverend V. Zexter Lila Yapas will be joining us very shortly. Today we have with us Father Isaac G. F. Govego. He is on the search committee of um, the next um, Secretary General of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And also we have Brother Roger Abim-karmo. He is a prominent Liberian Lutheran. Today, not to waste much time, we are going to go straight to our studios there in Freetown, Sierra Leone, where our brother, our ambassador, is seated tightly. He's going to be leading this program. Thank you very much, and we hope you have a wonderful time with us today.
Thank you very much, my dear brother Willie, and I want to also extend my appreciation to my colleague Josiah Jokai and brother Batan Ebeleweri. I hope I pronounced your name very well, Abel. I tried by all means to pronounce it in syllable. And I want to join my colleagues to welcome our our guest, Father Isaac G.F. Govego. You are most welcome to my Lutheran Connection, and also our brother Rogers Abim-karmo, or maybe I could also say Father Rogers Abim-karmo. And to you both, I also want to extend Happy Father's Day to you both on behalf of my Lutheran Connection. Today, our goal is to secure facts beyond emotions. And what we intend to do is to know more about the selection process that was conducted by the search committee. And we hope that our viewing public will be able to understand exactly what went into the process and looking at the outcome that we got today. So without much ado, I would like to go directly to Father G.F. Govego. We want you to please begin with your concluding statement, just for 1 minute. Can you please tell us who is Father Govego, and can you give us on a 1 minute what this whole search committee was about, how it came about, and perhaps what was the methodology? 1 minute.
You can be serious, Jerry, to ask all of that question for me. But anyway, thank you for the invite. And like you said, I share the information with my colleagues, and we are glad to be part of the discussion tonight and to share with you what the procedure was. As you are aware, the issue of the search committee is a constitutional requirement. It's in the Lutheran Church Liberia Constitution that there will be a search committee set up to search and recruit a general secretary and a treasurer. And that committee will be set up by the executive council through the bishop's office, which happened to be the case. Who is Isaac Govego? Well, I'm a Lutheran. I think I've been in the Lutheran Church now pretty close to 40 years. So started at St. John in Zozo, and then I'm now in St. Peter's. And I'll be fortunate to participate in different committees, serve St. Peter's, along with one of your co-hosts, Josiah Joker. And then later on, as he said, he ran out from us. He went to see Matthews. So, but Coming back to the committee, I got contacted by the bishop, Bishop Siankolo, that he wanted me to chair this committee. And to be honest with you, I was actually reluctant to chair this committee. The reason I was reluctant is because I had publicly announced I was supporting Reverend Zeze. So I thought that I didn't want to get caught up in maybe conflict of interest here and there. But he prevailed on me, and then we dragged. And then I would say, fortunately, we didn't get a lot of applications prior to going to Banga. We got 3 applications. One was in time. One wasn't, didn't meet the criteria because in our constitution, we say to be general secretary, you got to be married. The person was married and coupled with other things. So that person technically was not going to be considered. And then the third person application came after the deadline. So as a committee, we had consultation among ourselves and we informed Bishop Siankolo that we didn't think, given the crucial nature of this position, the importance of this position to the LCL, we didn't think we should just consider 2 applications and go through the vetting process, because we think that the position is very critical for the church. And then he accepted that, and then it was reported to the council, to the convention in Banga. And then the convention made a determination that they should give us 1 more month. But let me add before I forget, we have 5 from this committee: the outgoing General Secretary, Naomi Ford Wilson, Reverend Isaac Sano Doa, Brother Arthur Kwali, I think he's the former council chair for St. Paul in Kakata, and then Brother Thomas Kido. So the 5 of us, we are on the committee. And then when we return from Banga, we publish the vacancy, and thanks to Brother Wilikowe who helped to share on the Lutheran Connection. I have withdrawn myself from the Lutheran Connection, given the kind of conversation that was going on. But he kept bringing me in, and again I realized he has brought me back on the Lutheran Connection. So we kind of circulated to the various chat rooms, Moreover District, the National Men, St. Peter Men, and then we send hard copies as much as possible to the various parishes. And the deadline was, I think, May 20th. I think it was on a Friday. And then this time around, we got 8 applications. 8 applications, all male, no female. And then we decided the deadline was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We met as a committee and set the criteria for shortlisting. And we agreed. Willie, I shared that with you. Maybe at some point you can flash it, let people see for themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So we set the criteria. We agree as a committee. One of the 5 was in person, which was Pastor Doa. So I was in that meeting. Since Naomi was in that meeting, Brother Kwali, Arthur Kwali was in the meeting, Brother Thomas Kido was in the meeting. Pastor Doa was in that meeting when we met. So in my mind, as the chairperson of the committee, 4 out of 5, that was a good number to go ahead and make a decision. So we set the criteria, and then we agreed that if you got 70 points, you will be. We agreed that if you got 70 points, you will be qualified for the test and the interview. So out of the process, and each of us, we established a WhatsApp chat room, for all of the members. So whatever information we put it there, and then we also have an email that we just use to send to Willie.
Okay,
Search
Father
Committee
Govego.
2022.
Father Govego, I'm sorry that I will. That's your concluding statement that you began with. So we will continue to do a deeper dive into the entire process. We want to say that we got a good chunk of what went on, and we want to say thank you. And we just want to switch the pendulum to our brother Roger Abim-karmo. You will give us your concluding statement, Rogers, under 1 minute. But I will begin like this with you. Why did you ask to come on the Lutheran Connection? Why, Roger?
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for accepting my request to be a part of the show tonight. And the reason for which I am, by introduction of those who are monitoring the show, I am Roger Abim-karmo, and the current vice chairman on the executive council of St. Peter's Lutheran Parish. Okay, I asked to be on this show tonight because I have some dissatisfaction in the way the process went. The GS Search Committee conducted the process. And I commented 2 days ago in my Lutheran Connection chat room that the process was biased, and I challenged the committee on the way they went and conducted the process. But the fact is that I was not shortlisted to be called for interview, and I met all of the requirements that the committee asked for. So, in as much the committee did not call me out for interview and test, I felt that the process was biased. So there was a need that I come on this platform since you invited the chairman on the committee to be present on the show. So I thought to be on the show as well to let Lutherans know that the process was not done fairly, and the committee did not do me justice, because all what the committee asked for in terms of requirements, I met all of the requirements. To not shortlist me, I felt that was not fair to me, because there are others also who applied. My qualification even exceed their qualification. And I also believe some of them never even met the requirements, but they were shortlisted as well. So why they in the committee shortlist me? Why they left me out of the process? So the good thing about the chairman is here. So the chairman will be able to tell us exactly what the criteria said to disqualify and qualify applicant for the position of a GS in the LCL. So that's the reason I thought to come.
Oh, that's very excellent. That's very excellent. And I think it has already started a serious conversation from your discontentment. But I will now allow my colleague, Brother Abel Liweli, to please jump in if you got any question. Brother Liweli.
Oh, God. Before Liweli's question, I think we need to go to Willie to follow up with the guests to see what's going on. I think there is a technical issue.
Yes, I don't know if Isaac is still on the show. I'm not seeing.
He's coming. Okay, yeah, okay. He's here. The guest is back. All right.
Yeah, so Brother Abel, you can proceed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I want Govego to be present on the show.
All right, I think Brother Lewis have been going in and out, so maybe we can go to Brother Josiah Jokai and the Reverend Zexter Yakwazo, and then because Brother Lewis has been going in and out.
Willie, thank you so much. Continue with the technical aspect and lead the lead with me. I sing Govego. But anyway, I'm just kidding. We can't be too serious. Okay, Reverend Yabazo, please jump in.
But
Reverend, before you come in, Abel, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. I don't really know what's the problem at this hour. My internet really got kind of distracted, moving back and forth. But quickly,
Okay,
let me
so
go
we
into
give
my
you
question.
the opportunity now to ask your question, sir. Please.
Isaac, are you getting me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Mr. Govego, okay. I understood you very well. And I was trying to read through, and I saw that there were different applicants that actually applied, and you gave a very good narrative as a report as to the process, the procedures that led to the conclusion of the final candidate for the position of a general secretary, stating step by step how this process worked among the 5 candidates, which was very good on the part of your committee, and we highly appreciate that. But I didn't see the process that disqualified those that applied that were not even shortlisted.
You thank you, Abel, but unless you're telling me you have access to the report that we sent, the report we sent had 5 attachments, I think 4 or 5 attachments. The criteria set that led to the short list. That was a criteria set that we used
So,
to do the short list.
Brother Govego, can you, for the sake of the viewing public, can you please narrate? He asked a question, a pointed question. We did not see the procedure, or he wants to know why some other colleagues were not contacted to form part of the process, and you shortlisted. So, can you please just answer the question, sir?
Jerry, I think I'm answering the question. I said to you earlier that when we received the 8 applications, we met as a team and set a criteria that if you met 70, if you got 70 points, each of us score, there were criteria set, and each of us score each of the candidates, the 8 applicants. And if you got 70 points and above, you were shortlisted for the test and the interview. If you got less than 70 points, you were not shortlisted. And that document was attached to the report that we submitted to the Bravo.
Wonderful.
All right.
Jerry, can I just make an intervention?
Fair enough. Josiah, please, yeah, jump in.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Govego, for coming on. Not many people would do that. This is exemplary, and you should be lauded for that. The fact that you're given the responsibility and you want to appear, to ensure accountability in the process. We highly appreciate your appearance on the show. And Roger, too, thank you for the courage, mustering the courage to come on to have this conversation, because they also support the whole idea of accountability, and trustworthiness that we all seek. But Mr. Govego, I think the question is, in your report, we don't see, probably I have not seen the report to the extent that I'm able to say whether or not those who were not shortlisted, there is a category in the report about them that they were not shortlisted with their names. And were they also notified why they were not shortlisted? Were explanations given to them why they were not shortlisted? Because they applied and probably it seemed they were left in limbo.
Joe, this is not. We don't have that luxury of time. If you see when vacancies are published, you always see at the end only shortlisted candidates will be contacted. Right? Go back to our paper and read that. So we received, say for example, when we did the recruitment for LDS, we received 26 applications. And we were able to shortlist 11 of the 26. We won't go back and write all those people. The next group of people, the people who went for the test and interview, when they were not successful, we wrote them that they were not successful. But not for the shortlisting, no, we didn't do that. But to know how we shortlisted, so that the appointing authority will know how we arrive at the short list, we attach the criteria. We attach the criteria to the report. The criteria we use to shortlist people, so we didn't just do it off on top of our heads. There was a criteria set that we agree on as a committee, based on the TOR from the Constitution. So even the criteria that was said, it was not just said from somewhere. It was based on the TOR from the Constitution.
Okay, Jerry, I know that it's not my turn to ask. I know it's not my turn, just making follow up. But the response provided by the chairman of the search committee, I don't know if your committee still exists. Has it been disbanded? Because sometimes there are ad hoc committees. Can we still refer to you as the chair of the committee or the den committee? Or the den committee?
In my view, we've done our work. We no longer exist. The fact that the Executive Council has validated what we've done, we consider it close.
The den committee. Okay, you're the chair of the den committee.
All right. So Josiah, we'll give you the time to come in. I know you were doing some follow up, but the response from the chairman of the den committee have prompted a kind of short follow-up question for Rogers.
That's what I wanted
and please
to do.
allow me.
You can go ahead.
Yeah, and please allow me, and then before, So, Mr. Rogers, you have heard the chair of the den committee. So, unfortunately, you were not told, to form part of the short list because perhaps you did not meet the 70-point mark, and you claim to have been overqualified more than some of the candidates there. What make you to presume that you were qualified more than some of the candidates who were shortlisted? Can you please?
Okay, thank you very much, Jerry. When you look at the requirements for application for this position, the committee said that you should have a bachelor degree in business administration or management. I do have a bachelor degree in public administration, emphasis in management. And I do have an MBA in management. So when it comes to education level, I know very well that I met that benchmark. The committee also said in the requirements for the GS position, you must have worked in project and program area, proposal writing. And I have done that for over years upon years upon years. Even to the point that I personally have written proposal and won a project and served as consultant on that project for many years, trained by Piu Zuba and Wole Bele for years. And those projects that we won gave me fortune. I felt that I've worked in program and project area and I've developed project proposal, I'm qualified. Not just doing project proposal and planning and management like that, I also went to LIPA to build my capacity and did project management 2011 and got a certificate. Not being satisfied because of my passion for program and project, I went back to LIPA 2012 and did project management, got the certificate. So when I saw that clause in the requirement, I felt that I was one of the best candidates for that position. I applied. The committee also said in that requirement criteria, you must be a Lutheran and must have served in key positions in your parish. And you all know the record. I served as GS for St. Peter's Parish Council for 6 years. Currently serving as Vice Chair on the Executive Council almost 3 years, almost 9 years. That put me in a position to apply for the job. The committee also said you must be married. I am married.
I think you got some technical issues there. Jerry, you want to pick up from there? I think
Hello.
you said a lot.
Hello. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
And what even gave me competitive advantage over some of the applicants, I do have a postgraduate degree, a diploma in international relations and diplomacy. And that's the kind of person LCL should be looking for, who know how to negotiate, who will serve as a diplomat for the church. I do have that as well. But the committee say, I am not qualified to be shortlisted to come for interview. The chairman is saying that the committee that work and is score everybody that apply. So what about my score? What score did I receive that disqualify me to come to be shortlisted for interview? And there are others also who apply, having had experience I've had, others who apply don't have the education credential I do have, but they were shortlisted. So on the basis of what? You disqualify me and qualify others. So I think I pray that the then committee chairman would tell this audience that people that apply were qualified. What were their credentials in terms of education and job experience? That's what we're looking at. I serve also as chief of office staff, 53rd, 54th legislature, and the couple of proposals for lawmakers in that place. I'm currently serving as senior management consultant at the National Lottery and serve there as chief of staff, special assistant, serve also as a senior research analyst. Just got appointed again to go and serve as senior management consultant. But you see, I'm not qualified. What make other people qualify more than me in terms of jobs, in terms of experience, to education? That you say I am not qualified, you disqualify me, and allow other people to go for interview. I felt that was not fair to me. So the committee can tell Liberians. Yeah.
Thank you, Rogers. I mean, I think your profile is heavy, and I hope the chair of the committee then will be able to, when the time comes, will be able to give us some feedback on that, because we ourselves on the platform, we are wondering, with all of the portfolio you have, the credential you have, why you didn't even score 70. That is a question that sounds comical. But anyway, we'll get there as we take a deeper dive. Reverend Yabazo, before we come to the
just 1 minute, Jerry, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Minute. People are saying I fail in tests. I score below 70. So let the then committee tell us how that score came about. Because what people think was when my inbox say the post say you fail the test, you fail. So I not nobody call me out to ask fail.
I feel your pain, especially when somebody tells you. I feel your pain, especially when somebody tells you you fail and you know that you got all of the competence. And that is why the committee chair is here for the then committee chair is here, and I'm sure he's going to respond to you adequately. So in lieu of that, Reverend Yagbazo, you can just chime in, and then from there we'll reverse and go to our brother Jokai. You and Jokai can decide who want to come, because Jokai was in flight. Jokai, do you want to continue, or we give or you want to yield your time to Reverend Yagbazo?
Sorry, guys, I was muted. Sorry about that. I think for the sake of sequence in the questioning process and to keep the logical flow, I would prefer that you guys go back to Mr. Govego so that he doesn't, lose his thought on the issue raised by Roger, because Roger raised critical issues. And for the sake of clarification, I'd like to appreciate the fact that, Jerry, your initial question to Roger was a major disclaimer for our show. We didn't actually formally invite Roger. Roger requested, he insisted to come on the show. We did not mean to have the then chairman on and have Roger on. It was just the then chairman, but the fact that Roger is a Lutheran, and the fact that he was involved, he requested to come, so we have him on. So I think Brent will agree with me that we want to go back to you, Jerry, so you can still engage with Roger and Mr. Govego on this matter. The fact that Roger raised the issue is just fair enough to go back to Mr. Govego to see if Mr. Govego.
Remember, you just got installed. Why you laughing like this?
No.
Go ahead.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing at something completely different. I appreciate Joe's comment. And as Joe spoke, all that came to my mind was that, okay, Roger said, I just jump in here. So I was just saying to myself, I said, okay, Roger, if the then chairman respond to your question, please jump out of here, because you just jump in here because you have some concern. So I'm hoping that when the then chairman answer all of your questions, that you have, I hope you can just jump out of here. But if you still have more
questions, I see why you're laughing. Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Jerry, it's back to you. It's back to you, Jerry. I think you say, we shouldn't let the then chairman lose his thought on this matter, as Roger raised it. It's better for him to address himself to that, because it's a direct accusation of the committee. So back to you, Jerry, to engage with them.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much, Joe. Mr. Father Isaac G.F. Govego, I think you listened to Brother Roger Kamo. He raised some critical points, and I mean, we just want you to, I mean, in a succinct manner, give us, your, if I will, clarify, on some of the issues that he raised, because with all of the portfolio and competence that he raised, I'm thinking what went into the criteria that did not allow President Roger to have even scored 70 or pass to be shortlisted.
Thank you, Jerry, and thanks to Joe for raising that point. Firstly, if this show was about coming to respond to Roger, I would not show up. I would turn down your invitation. Okay? So if Roger feels strongly, this process has taken almost coming to 2 months. We've concluded this process coming to about 3 weeks. And he goes to the public platform, our church public platform, to 16:30. If he feels strongly that we were biased, as he claimed,
technical issue.
I think
Willie, can you check with Father Govego?
He will be coming back very shortly.
Okay, so
he's back.
He should file a formal complaint to the Executive Council that we were biased, and then we'll go through the process. The first thing is that when people do apply, and I'm prepared to provide free tutorial on how recruitments are done to Brother Roger. When people apply, you apply, there will be a TOR that will be presented either in the newspaper or wherever, and they circulate that. You look at it and say, yeah, I meet the criteria, you send it. But people at school, they don't necessarily have to give you tests to shortlist. People score. The people who are on the committee, who are on the evaluation committee, they score the various applicants. Before it's shortlisted, it's done in every institution. So
right, Father, for the sake of clarification, Father Govego, I think Roger's concern is why he did not meet your score criteria. You said 70 points. He said with everything that he has in terms of qualification, why didn't he meet that 70 point score to be shortlisted? I think that's the question.
Because he didn't just meet it. We said we had the criteria set, and everyone on the committee had the opportunity to score. I told you 4 of the 5 people were present. Reverend Dua wasn't available. He didn't show up because Reverend Dua is working in Kakata. But me, Naomi, Arthur, and Thomas Kedor, the 4 of us, each of us took each of the applicant application and CV and went through it and scored it.
Okay. So my point here is
it would be well, I'm coming, Joe. It would be a disrespect to the people if I tell Willie to publish it. But let me repeat myself again. If Roger feels strongly that we were biased, right? We did do a professional work, we were biased, let him file a formal complaint. Then we can address it from that point.
I got you.
So Rogers, you have a remedy that have been proposed, and I think it still does not negate the fact that you cannot come and air and raise your discontentment. This is in fact the right platform to come on where we get facts beyond emotions. And Brother Govego is also good for the committee and yourself in terms of repetition, in terms of credibility, because You are not here to answer to Rogers, but you're here to answer on procedures. You understand? And so it was good that you.
Jared,
Sorry.
Jared.
Can I please? Can I
Jared,
please?
let's set the
Can
record
I
straight.
please? Can I please? So that is the reason why we invited you. And when Roger asked us to join in, we thought that it was important that he comes so that he can be able to give his side of the story. You can hear it and even clarify, because as I said, our goal is to secure the facts beyond emotion. We don't want anything to get emotional here, and that is the reason why the platform. So you are not here to respond to Roger actually, but we're still looking at the process, the procedures, the methodology that were put in place, how it was conducted, etc. So after having said that, I think that we move on to Josiah. I think now you can proceed with your question.
Jared, 1 second, please, before Joe comes in. Can I say something?
Yeah, Mr. Govego,
yes,
Okay.
Yes. So look, the issue is, I got this invite from Willie on Sunday when I was in church, and there were just two ladies sitting between Naomi and myself. When I saw it on my phone, I shared with Naomi. She said, "Okay, it will be fine. The fact that the executive council meets tomorrow, Monday, and validate their report, you can go explain the procedure." And that's what I'm prepared to do. I'm prepared to explain the procedure, and you can question me on the procedure. I will respond. But if an individual who apply without asking, Roger knows all my numbers, Roger knows my email, he hasn't spoken to me, and come to the public platform and say we bias, and then you expect me to come and start responding to a question he asked? No. If you wanted to know, I got all the documents that we received. I still got everything in the folder, and I'm very much aware that when you do these kind of processes, people will come by and question the processes, the procedure. So everything we did, we documented along the road, and people sign. So it's not just something that Asa went in the corner, or me and Naomi sat down somewhere and did something. All of us who participated, when you look in the report, you will see in the report that we said, even on the interview day, Reverend Joachim late, we already interviewed 3 people and only level 2 people. We told him you will not participate, you can only do follow-up question, because it will not be fair to the first 3 people we interview. So you will listen and do follow-up question. That's written in the report.
That's good. So
all right, it's fair enough, but I think it's still important, you know, for us to have all sides so that everybody feel comfortable, and it's fair enough. Josiah, go ahead.
Yes, Jerry, just a second, Jerry, just a second.
All right, Reverend Yabazo, please, you can proceed, and Josiah will join later.
I'm back. Yeah, it was just an unusual movement, but it's the
okay, Josiah. So go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, first, Willie, before I continue, let me just seek clarification. Is that Abel in the Lutheran shirt? Abel, is that you? Because
yes,
I am back.
A different shirt, and his internet was not working, and he went and wore the Lutheran shirt. So I don't know if that is connected to the internet efficiency.
No. I think I'm good right now. I've been using my computer, but then I have to switch to my phone. I think the phone is pretty better, so I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay. With the help of your Lutheran man shirt, with the help of your Lutheran man.
Brother Josiah, quickly before you can come in, quickly, please. And this is very important. Father Golayan, the men's president of the fellowship, you be expecting a bill, because Abel is carrying a promo for the National Men's Fellowship without our concern. So expect a bill in the mail. Go ahead, Brother Josiah.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Willie. Thank you. Absolutely, it's going to be Reverend Yakwazua in the line of the questioning. I just want to remind you, Ambassador. But before you can go to Reverend Yakwazua, let me just go back to Roger. I don't know if Roger is listening. I see he's now on the screen, but
I think Roger.
Based on Mr. Govego's last response, my understanding is that during the scoring process by all the committee members, each committee member gave Roger a very low score for education, gave Roger a very low score for marriage, gave Roger a very, very low score for all the components based on the criteria. So I agree with Mr. Govego that if Roger has claims, he should appropriately make those claims, in keeping with their established procedures. And I also want to agree with Jerry that yes, as Lutherans, they both have the opportunity, like all other Lutherans, to come here and discuss. So, Roger, I was just saying before you came on, I don't know if you heard me, that based on Mr. Govego's response, my understanding is that, and I'm sure is probably the understanding of my colleagues, the other co-hosts, that the issue of the committee members gave you the lowest score on each component. Education, you got a very low score. On marriage, you got a very low score, very, very low, that didn't qualify. On all aspects, all the counts, based on the criteria, you got low scores. So you are disqualified from being shortlisted. In keeping with regulations or procedures, whatever it is. I don't know if one exists in terms of policy. If you can go ahead and take up this with any authority in a way that you can make your claims and then get results, you can go ahead and do that. But we still want to assure you and Mr. Govego that the show is yours. You can appear here every time you request. We'll give you the opportunity. So, Jerry, I just wanted to make that clarification. Maybe as the best.
So can I come in?
Mm-hmm. No, Roger, you will come in, but I mean, Josiah, I just also want to join you to say, assuming without a meeting, so that we can put ourselves in the best position and not to jump the conclusion that he was scored very low. But there are remedies that Father Govego already stated, and I think that since we still got some other procedures to finally validate the GS, I think, Roger, you will need to run fast if you think that you are still discontented, to try to see how some injunction can be placed on that process, and so that some of the documents can be reviewed. I think it's still possible. I see Father Govego laughing, but I think it's still possible. But Reverend Yabazo, please, it is your time in terms of sequencing. Can you please roll your question?
And Jerry, I like the way you pronounce my last name. At least you made my dad would not have problem with me, Reverend Yakwazuo, not Yakwazua, because then you will be wondering who on this show. So again, I am excited to see all of the folks that are here. And really quickly, before I lost my thought on this, I will appreciate at certain time of this show, you will really go to the comments, because while all of you guys were talking, I was going through the comments and I see Mr. Govego has a lot to answer here too. Apparently, we might even talk less and allow him to answer to the questions of our viewers. A lot I see that he got here. And then secondly, when Mr. Govego spoke, I heard him talk about, he raised a concern was that if he knew that Roger was coming here, he would have no time to come here. I just wanted to quickly let him know on behalf of this platform that this is a Lutheran platform, and it's not that we invited Roger, but if we are on, now that we are on, if a Lutheran of importance, a Lutheran who got something very important to share with the discussion, and you hint us up, we will choose to bring you in to provide that information. So this was hard with the issue of Roger was done. It's not that we sent him a formal invite to come. So I just wanted to get that clarity across to you, Mr. Govego, so that so that you can be aware as well, for the sake of the information. Mr. Govego, back to you. Good to see you. Do you still go to Good Shepherd Church? just before we start up the outro, just wanted to get
I still go there. As a matter of fact, I'm going there next Sunday.
Okay, good. I just wanted, because I see you, the way you hide your face, like, what is this Reverend about to ask me? So I just wanted to get you off that zone first before we continue.
Look at that. Look, I'm begging you, man, Pastor, just go ahead.
So, Mr. Govego, can you please help me again with the listing of that committee member? I took him because I heard you and I was trying to write them when you were naming, but then I didn't quite get them before I follow up with my question. You said the committee members.
were 5 on the committee. I don't know how they were selected. I was still contacted the chair. Okay. So the 5 of us are the outgoing general secretary, Naomi Ford Wilson, Pastor Isaac Doa, Brother Arthur Colley, Brother Thomas Kiddo, and the chair Isaac Govego. The 5 of us.
So I think I got it clear. I just had a little error with. So this is my question. A little confusion I'm having. For the sake of the record, Father Govego, you're from St. Peter's, right?
Yes.
Naomi Ford is from St. Peter's, right?
Yes.
Father Isaac Doa is a former pastor of St. Peter's, right?
Yes.
So technically, what his name? Thomas Kiddo and Arthur are the 2 folks that technically don't have some St. Peter's link. So in your view, just one crazy, I'm just throwing it out to you. In your view, do you think the chemistry of this committee was right to make a decision for the entire LCL?
Again, Reverend, I think you should be asking the executive council that question. I just told you I wasn't consulted on who become member of the committee. I was just asked the chair, and I received a letter.
So let me just follow up quick. Mr. Govego that I know, Father Govego that I know, very orderly, systematic, critical about issues. When you saw the listing, did it ever click to your mind that this could raise up a future contention, that we got all of these people from St. Peter's wanting to make a decision for the entire LCL? Did that ever click to you and say, look, let me raise up a red flag now?
Again, Pastor, with all due respect to you and your colleagues on the platform, that question should be back to the executive council.
Okay, Jerry.
Not to me. I told you, I said to you in my initial comment that when I was asked to chair this committee, I accepted reluctantly. And one of the reasons in the bishop's word to me, he had asked me to chair the committee because the committee that recruited as executive director of LDS, I chaired that committee. And they were happy with the work we did. And so they were asking me to chair the committee again. That's the conversation. Beyond that conversation, I don't know how Naomi became a member of the committee. I don't know how Pastor Doa was selected. I don't know how Thomas Kiddo was selected. I don't know how Arthur Colley got on the committee.
One last question, Father Govego. Did you in any way notice that 3 of these people on this committee were from St. Peter's by any means, or you just noticed that?
But Pastor Doa is no longer. Well, let me respond to you this way. Let me respond to you this way.
I'm not saying the committee was not fair. I'm saying I'm just asking you because...
Wait, Pastor.
Yeah.
I don't mind if you said we were not fair. I don't mind.
No. The fact that you're even disqualified as a Peter man shows that you're fair.
Reverend Yapaslo, I've been in the team for a long time. We recruit people. I'm not going to call names on the platform, right? But I've been chair committees that have recruited people in public position, in senior government position. And I know what we go through. And people will always come back. That's why I just said to you, the procedure and processes are all documented for people to see. On the issue of who comes on the committee, it's not me to decide that. It's not me to decide that.
So I think Father Govego, why it is true that it is not you to decide that, don't you see it? I mean, as an experienced person who have been on numerous committees, don't you see it as a major threat, or maybe I may not say threat, but don't you see it as a major credibility issue to the committee? As an experienced person who have been on a number of committees, don't you see that as a major credibility issue?
I don't see it that way. And if I were buying into your argument, then Roger should have been the general secretary because he's our co-chair. If buying into your argument, if that's the argument, then Roger should now be the general secretary. because he's my co-chair. And I'm a former council chairperson. Value to your argument that the fact that 3 people come from St. Peter's, then Roger should not be talking about we are biased. Roger should now be the general secretary, if I'm buying into your argument.
No, my question is on the issue, is on the basis, Brother Govego, of what we look at in the context of what we say, to be, morality. Because there's a church issue. Forget about where Roger as an individual that was disqualified came from. But the question that Reverend raised as it relates to other parishes. If, for example, Moravia District, other parishes there, we know for the way you cannot be held responsible, but you are chair and an experienced person. Why didn't we get people, for example, from St. Andrews? Why didn't we get people, for example, from St. Matthew? Why didn't we get people, for example, from other parishes? 3 persons coming from St. Peter's. Forget about Rogers now. You are not here to respond to Rogers. We are speaking to process. We are speaking to procedure. You understand that? 3 persons coming from St. Peter's. Why it is true that you did not choose them, don't you see it as a credibility issue?
I don't see it as an issue. I wouldn't see it as an issue if the work that was done was not professionally done. If you see what we've done, you read the entire report and see all the documentation, you will not be asking the question you're asking. Number 1. Number 2, Pastor Doa, if you see the report, Pastor Doa wasn't active in anything. Pastor Doa wasn't active in anything. The active 4 of the 5 people that were active, that Thomas Kedo, myself, Arthur Colley, who come from St. Paul, Kakata, and Thomas Kedo from Trinity.
Okay, so then let me ask the question.
That didn't influence anything anyway. So I don't know why you asking the question. But as far as I'm concerned,
okay, so let me ask the question I'm supposed to be asking now. Did I hear you say that Thomas Kedo was part of the shortlisting, part of the committee that shortlisted candidates? Did I hear you say that?
Oh, yes.
Interesting.
And you chair that committee?
Yes.
Yeah, get on the committee.
Did you also see that as conflict of interest?
That's why he didn't participate in the interview and the testing.
No, forget about the interview and the testing. I'm talking about the shortlisting to even get Victor Kedo to be shortlisted.
Okay, all right.
No. The shortlisting to get Victor Kedo, who is the brother of Thomas Kedo, to be shortlisted. Don't you see that as a conflict of interest? You have experience. You have been chairing this committee before.
Jerry,
Willie, can you mute Roger?
If you ask the question and you give me a chance to respond, then the viewing public will understand. But if you ask the question, I'm responding. And the first thing is that all the issue of the structure of the committee, I owe no apology to anybody because I didn't select anybody. And you know that. All of you on the platform knows that. You know the procedure. You know how these systems are, you know how the committees are set up. So for you to be questioning why I didn't question it, why I didn't question that, in my view, is to find a way to discredit the committee. But that's up to you. But coming back to Thomas Kedo, when you do interviews, right? When you do interviews, couple of ways, if you know some of the applicants, couple of ways you can address that issue. And I'll give an example. When I went to my institution was asked to be represented on the interview board on Millennium Challenge. They were recruiting MLE manager. When I got there, they had 5 applicants that I had shortlisted. Of the 5, I knew 3. So you can do 4 disclosure. You say, I know these people. And then when you score for them, the people you know, when you score for them, if you get an outlier grades, then they will question you. Another way you can do it is that if you decide not to disclose it, you recuse yourself. In this case, it was disclosed that his brother, but he didn't feel comfortable to continue the process, and he recused himself from the test and the interview. That in no way influenced whatever. So, and you are making all of the arguments because you have not seen the reports, and I'm not comfortable to put a report out there. If you want to see it privately, you can see it privately. If if you feel strongly about this, I think you should seek permission from the Executive Council. You publish a report and let people see the report for themselves. And then maybe that will answer the question.
Jared.
We can.
Yeah. Reverend, you want to make some follow up? Then we can go to Josiah.
It's just one quick follow up. It's not for Mr. Govego to respond, for Father Govego to respond. The point we're trying to make when we drew the line it's just to ask Mr. Govego. You had a committee of all of those people, and I go back to the question: do you think in any way, if you are just if I'm not saying now, but if you are caught it at the time, do you think you have raised any red flag to the whoever set up the committee? Let's assume it was not his responsibility to set up the committee. He didn't set up the committee, but he was asked to work with the committee. So let's assume when he was asked to work with the committee, that very day, he managed to realize all of the people credible, none of us doubting the credibility, but just to realize and say, well, all of us here, we will go to church on Sunday. I will see Naomi, and Naomi will see me, and we'll be talking about the whole committee thing here. And so now we'll cross Isaac Doa. We'll be talking the whole committee thing here and stuff like that. Can we, in other words, to get other Lutheran inclusive, can we reach out to the office of the bishop to say, hey, Chief, we understand that you send us this beautiful list of committee members, but to make our work more, what the word I want to use, to make our work more inclusive, can we have other people from other Lutheran? Because this is not just about Moravia district. The Secretary General of the LCL is serving the over 170,000 of Lutheran members that we got cross Liberia. You know, so I was just asking him, if he didn't see it from the beginning, there's no issue with that. If he thought it was not necessary to mention that, even if he saw it, but he thought it was not necessary to mention that, well, it's up. I was just raising that to him. Yeah.
All right, I think it's just a comment, and I see Father Govego laughing. But Roger, you want to say something, and after, and then we can allow Josiah. Now you can proceed after Roger.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I just heard what Father Govego said, my emeritus said, that the process that disqualified me was that the people on the panel pick up our CV and graded us. And Chairman Emeritus, as experienced as he is from civil service agency, he knows very well that process, by allowing people on a committee to give points to applicants, was inappropriate. Because if somebody get issue with me, and I look at the names of people who are on a committee here, in no way they will give me points to take me to the next level. And he, as experienced as he is, in his own mind, consciously, he look at everybody's CV. He has read my CV over and over and again. Can he say on this platform, disregard what people on the team did by marking our CV and getting us school? Can he say on this platform that I, Roger Abim, was not qualified based on what he read in my CV to go to the next level? I thought only that I know, kiddo that I know, they will look at me and give me points to go to the next level. It would never happen. So all I thought the committee would have sat down, and the chairman who get experience sat down together as a team, and he chaired that process. But instead, he allowed people to make their own decision. It was not going to happen for me. For the fact that Kiddo is also there as his brother on the his brothers also apply to give me point to go to the next level, they will never do that. We all have seen my CV and read my profile. He has seen my CV and read my profile. People gave marks, and he gets experience in HR thing, and he let it pass like that without questioning and querying why he get a mark based on what he has in his CV and let it go like that. From what he just said, I can never go any further and go ask anybody and push it any further. I can never do that because the way the scoring was done, the scorecard was done by individual, they were never going to give me points. They were never going to do that. They were never going to do that.
Okay.
So I would never.
All right.
I'm not going to go for
We're going to
So
recognize.
Roger,
Okay.
so Jerry,
yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
say this, Jerry. Roger, I understand exactly how you feel about that, and I mean, I like the fact that you can express it. But Mr. Govego has responded, and his response is clear that he's not going to respond to your questions and concerns on the show. You can actually take recourse, and you have the liberty to do that. I also agree with him that you can do that, because he said that the scoring was done based on the criteria that the committee established, and if you are dissatisfied about the fact that you are not shortlisted according to him, so you can seek another course to that effect, and I think that's the best way to proceed.
it was my turn.
The fact that you are
And Joe,
I can
Joe,
waste my
just
time.
to add up to you, I will
You're right.
encourage Roger so wholeheartedly. I personally, as a pastor of the LCL, I will encourage Roger to do that communication. Whether or not he's heard, records will prove him right for tomorrow. That he felt dissatisfied about something, and it's possible that it will change the trajectory of things done in the future. So don't just say, oh, because of this person on the committee, this person is not going to go anywhere. You will be surprised that you can raise up your issues with the executive council, and it could be looked into. Whether or not you get the kind of response you want, but the idea, history will have you on record for not feeling good about something in the LCL and following up with. And that's the way we can make the LCL better. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Jerry, I was trying to say, Willie, I'm sorry. I was trying to say that you should go to our audience to get the online comments and
Yeah.
questions.
Let me just recognize our people real quick. This is something traditional that we do. Yeah.
Yeah, Willie, please, Joe, please. Maybe that would be, because I don't want to lose my thought on this, and since we're already on it, let me just zero in on it. Then we can just go straight to the comments and the viewers. And then from there, I think Abel also want to make some comment, but after the viewer. But let me just, please, I beg you, colleagues, let me not just lose my thought on this. Father Govego, I'm still back on this conflict of interest, and I see it seriously as something that we got to look at it from a moral standpoint. Even if we cannot question we cannot question you on the composition of the committee. You didn't have any power to say, okay, we cannot extend the committee or we cannot move this person from on the committee. But morally, I think it was inappropriate and to have one person on the committee shortlisting somebody who is his relations on the committee, there. But I just want to follow up on that, so I cannot lose my thought on it. You said the committee 8 persons. How many persons? Sorry,
Jerry. Before I lose my thought myself, let me correct that. I said everyone on the committee scored all the applicants.
Right.
So no one person took a particular applicant and just scored it, and then that was final. There were 8 applications. There were 8 applicants. Each of us scored each of those applicants, and we tallied the points. And if you got 70 points, you went to the next stage. That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to tell you that if my mother were on the committee, Lulu Tabolo, and she see her son's Jerry Tablo, there's a likelihood that she will score me 88 or 98, so I can go to the next level. I just want you to know that from the moral standpoint.
No, I'm not going to agree with you on that, because
no, but you don't have to agree with me.
No. We're talking best practice, Jerry. In HR best practice, when you go to a committee room, what you do is that if you know people, if I went to a committee room and I saw Reverend Zesta Yakpazwede on the list, I saw Josiah Jokai on the list, I saw Willie Kowe, and then I saw Jerry Tablo, I saw Roger Abim-karmo. I don't know Jerry Tablo, I don't know Roger, but I know the first 3 people. Best practice require that you either you do full disclosure. I know these 3 people. Or you decide that, look, these 3 people that I know, because they are on the committee, I'm going to recuse myself. The first stage, it was full disclosure. I just said that to you, full disclosure that this is my brother. The second stage, we decided he would not be there. And then
So if you could decide, so if you had the power,
listen to me, please. This is something we do every day. And when you score, your scores are looked at. Once I say I know Zesta Yakpazo, I know Josiah Joka, I know Welekowe. When I score, the committee look at those scores that I gave those people. The fact that I say I know them. If the score for you and Roger are lower, and the score for the pastor and Joe and Willie are much higher. And in fact, when you do shortlisting and you score, when you score people, you score the applicants, it should be the same range. When your score is an outlier score, they will question you. They will call you back and say, what did you see on this man's CV that the rest of the people didn't see? Those are the things that happen in the room. Oh man. So it's not just about somebody because you brother you give them score. No. Those are the technical things that go on when you do interview, when you do shortlisting.
Let me ask one question.
But the question still remain. But the question still remain. If you, as the committee, had the power in the second phase to ask him to recuse himself, because it didn't appear to me that you said he voluntarily did it. You asked him to recuse himself. Why didn't you ask him to recuse himself from the initial stage up to now?
Okay, Jerry, you spoke my question already. So,
I don't know what response you want me to give you. I've told you you can do it two ways. You can decide to do full disclosure. You can decide to recuse yourself. In the first place, it was a full disclosure. This is my brother. In the second stage, second and last stages, he decided that he's not going to be part of the process. And then to do the test, there were two set of questions that we did. One set of questions was for the interview. One set of questions was for the test. That was done in the morning. It was not done and somebody carried overnight. It was done in the morning with Arthur, myself, Naomi, the three of us. Because Pastor Dowa came very late. We were already in the process. So the questions were done in the morning at LDS conference hall. There we did the questions and we agreed on the questions. Right there. The evidence you can get for that is Zoba Moluba, one of the applicant. He was scheduled for 10 o'clock. We didn't call Zoba Moluba on the 12 o'clock because we had to do the questions. We agreed on the questions. We typed it, and then we asked the IT guy from LDS to help us. So when you finish the interview, you go do your test. When you do your test, the IT guy copy it on a flash drive and delete your response because the next candidate is going to stay there to do the test. So the way I see it is that people are not kind of appreciating what we try to do. We spent 10 hours, my brother, sitting out in our place to have the process done. So it was not just about 2 by 4, let's do it quickly and get out of here. Because we knew our interpreters were on the line. We knew people would come by and question what we've done.
Right.
So I'm saying,
Jerry, I know Abel wants to come in. But this is how I will treat this question, and this question is critical. The issue of conflict of interest is crucial, and it borders whether or not my senior brother takes it into account, but it borders on the credibility.
Joe,
on the credibility of the work that was done. And so this is how I would treat it if I were chair of the committee, because Thomas Kedot did not have any option at that point. The fact that he had his blood relative, not just a friend, who applied. The committee will have taken a stance by making sure that Thomas Kedot recused himself from the committee from the very start and not allow him to strike from the shortlisting point and then ask him or, allow him to recuse himself from the interview stage, because, it was a probability now. It was possible that he brother would pass the interview or not. So from the shortlisting point, the fact that the committee did not take a stance to ensure. And brother Govego is an HR expert. And I will share this joke in the form of an inquiry. Look, I was shortlisted along with Lami Lai, and I think the senior brother knows that, for the executive director position at the Elections Commission. And it was the first time ever for Ellen to refer that to the CSA. The Constitution provided that, look, the president appointed directly the executive director of the Elections Commission. The CSA did not have any role. But that particular year, it was so crucial that the president referred that task to the CSA, a constitutional task. and I was involved. I one of those I applied. Lamilai and I were shortlisted by the CSA, and we went to an interview. And so I was just jokingly saying to myself when Reverend Govego said that we have conducted interview for government officials and things, I said, oh, apparently my CV passed through the hands of the senior brother. you know, and I was going to ask you, I said, oh, did you apply some of those criteria? No, that is just a joke, for us to laugh out a little bit. But on a serious note, had I been the chair of the committee, the then committee that was chair, I would have ensured that Thomas Kedor recused himself from the very start of the process, the fight that his brother was involved. I would have asked him to recuse himself, because no way that he will be biased towards his brother. He was definitely going to score his brother to make sure that his brother gets up there. And there are probabilities, I will assume, that also that he will score other people low just to give his brother, that chance to go. So this is not really a question for my brother. I mean, for senior brother Govego. I'm saying if I were chair of the committee, that is how I would have treated it. Because I know that Govego will allow, Thomas Kedor to decide through morality, conscience-based decision to say, hey, this is my brother. Yeah, I'm getting out. Yes, that was it. But the committee also had a stance to take. Abe, you still want to ask your question?
Abe, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Gentlemen, sorry that I'm fluctuating back here, but let me quickly put this. The position of a general secretary used to be position voted for by the Lutheran Church in Liberia until at some point when it was being transitioned through a search committee. What I understood from Father Govego is that in the dying minute of this entire selection process, it was just between three persons. That is he, Axel Govego, Naomi for Wissing, and that of Arthur Kwali. Father Govego, being a very critical person on issues that I know, it seems really fair from all indications that three persons will sit and select a general secretary, a very cardinal position of this church. The league, three persons, select a general secretary and present. In your own mind, is this process actually fair?
I'm coming. No, Roger, please. I will find
if is sticking, but his question is already.
Roger, you'll bring fire tomorrow. I'm going to find you. You'll bring fire tomorrow.
I'll get them.
Look, Abel, I think we should not be unnecessarily technical about this issue. You have 5 people on the committee. 3 or 5, that's majority. If we were 2, we would have aborted the entire process and revert to the appointing power. The first thing is, I think people should be looking at whether what we did was credible, and not the number of persons, not the number of parages that were involved. You have 5 people on the committee. In the wisdom of the executive council that we trust, and that's our church structure, they appointed 5 people. 2 of the 5 people were not active. Reverend Dua wasn't active. Reverend Dua came very late. It would have been unfair if at the time Reverend Dua came, he got involved. So we made a determination that, and what we did was that we asked the executive director of LDS to second his HR to us to sit as an observer. And she will bring us to both, because she'll be HR forever. She will bring us to both if there were missteps. Younger was there. That's mentioned in the report as well. And for it to be saying whether it's fair that 3 people did it, in my view, yes, because that's the majority of the total number of the committee. And I think we should be looking at whether the right procedure was followed, the processes were followed.
Okay, follow up quickly. Follow up. Then that brings me into this. So technically, you are now telling us that St. Peter's Lutheran Church, comprising of you and Naomi for Wissing, selected a general secretary on behalf of the Lutheran Church in Liberia.
With all due respect to you, I will not respond to that.
Okay.
All right.
Because that's
Okay.
that's not a fair question to me.
It's the guest.
Father Govego is fair enough. You can choose to answer or not to answer. Thank you so much.
I'm not going
I'm
to respond to that. That's not fair to me.
Can you please recognize our guest and put us on the question?
And after that, I can ask my question, or should I ask my question now?
No, you ask your question later, please.
After, yeah.
As a matter of tradition, we want to recognize our viewers. We want to thank them so much for being very patient with us because it's part of our program. That this program is their program. So we want to recognize quickly the very first person, our sister Kopo Sili, our brother Royal Jerome Jala, brother Blama Saliv, our own brother Rich Kid Kennedy, our pastor, Pastor Wokulu Colley, Pastor Thomas Z.P., Brother Dickinson Williams, Brother Andrew Tierma, Reverend Willie Heenan. Reverend Willie Heenan happens to be in the same state as I am, in the state of Georgia. And Brother Victor Nambe Johnson, Mother Dede Howard, we want to recognize you, Reverend Wokulu Colley, Brother Koklo Yankwe, Mother Melipale K. Sumo, and she's watching in from Missouri State, St. Louis City, Missouri State, and a whole lot of other people that are here. Brother Judomon Colley, Brother Chia Cooper, Brother Moses Cole from ITV. We want to thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the
Moses
partnership.
Cole, can you please relay? Moses Cole, can you relay, please?
Yeah, he's doing that. Brother Peter Waterby Howard, and the counselor himself, Buxton Cully, who's going to be on our show next week. And I mean, a whole lot of other folks, but Romeo Mamu is also on the show. But we had just a few questions here. Couple Silly, this Couple Silly want to know, she said, can the chairperson, maybe she came in later, but we're just going to flag this. Say, can the chairperson please ask, can you please ask the chairperson?
She's trying to say
can you please ask
this chairperson, yes, this chairperson, if Brother Kemakira were part of the schooling and rating process and selected his brother to be shortlisted. So that's a question right there from our sister, Sis Couple Silly. I believe that was a typographical error.
So our
and
guest
there's another question.
Note the question.
Sorry?
Govego, can you note the questions?
Yeah, you can note the question, then you just answer them quickly. So she's asking if you were part of the shortlisting process. I think you answered that, but
that's a direct question. Yeah,
direct question to you. And also, there's a question here from our brother Andrew Tillman. Why did Brother Kiddo recuse himself? Or why didn't Brother Thomas Kiddo recuse himself from the process when he realized that his brother had applied? His brother was an applicant. Okay, and there is also yes, Pastor P is asking if we can take the questions now. Yes, we are taking questions, Pastor P. And also, I will come here. There's a question here from Pastor P. Pastor P did ask a question, and he said, is it true that Brother Thomas Kidder participated in the shortlisting process when his brother was qualified? So Pastor P asked that question. And also, he asked a question here. He said that, I believe, this is just a short form of your need that, you kind of used to.
No, that's how he called Mr. Govego.
Okay, that's how he calls you. Okay, all right. So he said, Gogo, I think it's way direct, and this is your former pastor too. So he said, Gogo, this question is what disqualified Roger? So he's asking you a direct question. So those are the questions that we could pick so far from our few. And our viewers, we're going to be getting back to your questions. Please upload them for us. We're going to be reaching back to your questions. We're going to allow Father Govego to respond quickly. And then we're going to go to our...
We only have questions today, Willie? We never have comments?
Oh, we got a lot of comments.
No.
Hello. We got a lot of comments. We got a lot of comments here. There are too many.
Yeah.
The majority is always and sometimes right. He said you guys need to think beyond St. Peter's, and Monrovia district. That's a concern right there from Reverend Willie Heenan. So other
Can
people
I
are
can I
watching.
respond please to the questions before I forget?
Okay, and Mother Della Howard said thank you for the recognition. Oh, you're so welcome, Mother. Thank you so much. I think we're gonna leave the comments and just go straight to the questions. Go ahead.
Okay.
Quickly to add on the question,
I will
somebody tell
start
me.
with the last question that Reverend P asked.
Father
Okay.
Govego, Father Govego.
Father
To
Govego,
add
we got one more question.
To
Yeah.
add on the question, I see that Tammy was also asking if it is possible to publish the
score
guidelines
sheet.
you had to qualify people. Just so you know, you were just asking if that was possible to publish now qualification, whatever you had that you used to qualify and disqualify
The
people.
metric that were used to qualify people.
Yeah.
And someone also sent me a direct question, Father Govego. If you can add this, please. He said, is it possible to show since you said that Willie has the document, is it possible to show the scores of individuals to clarify the concern about Brother Kidder and his brother and the rest of the other people? So meaning they are asking if we can show the score sheet for everyone to be, for transparency. That's the question.
Go ahead, Father
Okay,
Govego.
I will start from where I will start from Reverend P's question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know whether my very good friend Jinape was. That's how I call him though. So don't get offended. That's how I call him.
Yeah, you guys call each other. I will tell you that you call him Zina and he calls you Gogo. Let me just let the team know Zina and Gogo.
Okay, all right.
All right. So I don't know whether Jinape was listening, but I said there was a criteria set. I'm comfortable publishing the criteria. I'm not comfortable publishing in school without reference to the appointing authority. I think it's unprofessional and I can't authorize that. But with the criteria set, I'm comfortable that you can publish and let people see it and make their comments. Okay. What disqualified Roger is the fact that Roger didn't meet the 70 points mark. Reverend P, if you have made a 70-point mark, you're going to be shortlisted. I just want people to understand that when people apply and you look at a TOR that is published, a term of reference that is published, and you say, oh, I meet this one, you apply. When you are not shortlisted, that doesn't necessarily mean you are not qualified. From HR standpoint, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not qualified. But it just suggests that other people whose documents were there, who met the criteria to be shortlisted or to be interviewed, were very close to what they were looking for. Period. I've went through several interviews. I've done tests with USAID, and they write me back and say, you didn't succeed. I didn't go say they were biased. I've done tests with UNICEF. I didn't go say they were biased because I was not shortlisted. And I looked through the whole stuff, and I said, oh, I was doing this thing when I worked for Lutheran World Service. I was doing this thing when I worked for the USAID project. But I didn't get shortlisted. It doesn't mean that somebody don't like me. I just want people to understand that. And it's the process. It's not an event, it's a process. And then with those, I don't know how many times I will have to respond to the issue of whether Kidder was part. I said, let me say again, for those probably who didn't understand me, I said we have 5 on the committee. 4 of the 5 people, that's Azo Govego, Naomi Ford Wilson, Arthur Kwali from St. Paul Kakata, Thomas Kidder from Trinity Lutheran Church in New Matari, did the shortlist. In this instance, there are full disclosure that this is his brother. When we drew the test to draw the test and the interview questions, Thomas Kidder wasn't a part. He didn't even show up on the LDS compound. We did a test in the morning. We do the test in the morning right in the LDS conference room. As a result of that, Zuba Moluba, who was the first candidate scheduled at 10 o'clock, we didn't start with him till almost 12:30. I hope I've answered that question. I know 3 people asked that question. 6 couples today, Brother Temi, and another person asked that same question. Okay, and I just responded to the question that we asked whether you can publish. I'm comfortable publishing the criteria we set. I'm not comfortable publishing the results.
So
if we seek the permission from the appointing authority and they say yes, we can do that, we can go ahead and publish it.
So this is the criteria, right? The criteria set: education 10 points. What?
Our experience in managing
Oh,
projects.
experience in project management. Okay, thank you. Yeah, experience in project management, experience in development, 15 points. Experience in people's management, experience in project proposal, experience in budget management, experience in computer, experience in
working with
donors, professional communication, and the final score.
Yeah.
So anyway, so there you have it, folks. That's the.
All right.
Can you go back to Pastor Pay? Pastor Pay has another question there that he just posted quickly.
Oh, okay. All right.
He said Pastor Pay posted a question. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So
No, not that. No, not that. No, not that. Not that.
The last one.
The last one. Okay.
Not that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Pastor Pay says, please note, Henry G. Qualified was qualified. We are told that he is an office staff of GS Naomi Ford office. Why did she remain on to the end? So again, I think it's all about. But anyway, I will leave this to the lead.
Yeah. Interesting.
So you see, you and Jerry quick on the conclusion.
Very
interesting. If you look on G. Henry Koloba's CV, there's nothing mentioned there that he works for the Lutheran Church in Liberia. His CV tells us that he works for the Ministry of Finance. So I'm saying people have not read documents, they don't have access to read documents, and then people are jumping into conclusion, and this one and that one. Even though in the end, Naomi told us, Henry Coleman worked with me, but the fact remains that the CV, the document he sent us, there's nothing on that CV that says he worked for Lutheran Church in Liberia.
Wow.
And that's a different argument that we can make. And I'm prepared to discuss that tonight. Anybody raise anything beyond this, what I'm saying, I will not respond to you. I'm sorry.
Wow, interesting.
Father Govego, do you care to come back along with other team members and we can go through the document?
Which documents?
Like, you said if the authority can give you the go ahead to do that, I'm asking if
that's possible. That's possible. Okay. I will encourage all my colleagues to join. That's possible.
Okay, so we'll follow up with you. Okay.
Excellent. So can I go now? Can I roll?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Josiah, please.
Thank you very much, CM brother. Again, thank you for accepting our invite. This is hard thing to do for many of the folks, in our church, and we appreciate that people are really now breaking glass ceilings. What I can say is that Henry works for the church. It's obvious. We all know that he works for the church. And if I were chair of the committee, I will also take note of that. For several reasons for Naomi. For Naomi, it's a special case. Since Naomi is my big sister, and I will also take note of that. I will also ensure that Naomi become a reference person and don't have any voting right on the committee. The fact that she's GS and the fact that she has Henry, who is an applicant. Yeah, I will ensure that, otherwise I wouldn't chair the committee. I mean, that's just the business of principle, and we have differences when it comes to that. I will ensure that she's not on the committee. She's just a resource person. She's just a resource person that the committee can refer to for documents if we want, for such purposes, and not to have a right to make a decision on the committee. To prevent some of the kinds of conversations we're having right now. I think that would have been the best thing to do earlier. Even seen with Thomas Kedar, we don't want to go back and forth on the Thomas Kedar issue. It was morally wrong. I think it was unacceptable for Thomas Kedar to even participate in the shortlisting process. The fact that his brother was on the list to be shortlisted. That's the first wrong thing that ever happened. So we don't even need to ask questions about obvious things. That's obvious. Naomi's situation is obvious. And let me just come forward to say this, CM brother. Did Reverend Dr. Thomas Jala participate in the process? Was he shortlisted?
Yes, he was.
Okay, great. I learned from somebody, a colleague of mine in the church, that he participated in the interview. I don't know how you managed to allow that information to leak, if it is true. And I don't want to rely on assumption. You are the best person in the record of truth, as far as we know right now. Did he offer to accept as low as $500 if he were to be selected just to serve the church, to leave his lucrative job? Did that factor in your conversation with him during the interview at any point? Did he accept? Did he propose that he would take as low as $500 to do the job? As salary?
That's not some of the things are not gossip. The interaction with the 5 shortlisted people were documented, because, as you know, all of you there, I'm sure you've been to interview before. Right. The last question, the obvious last question they always ask: when are you available? What is your salary expectation? And we were on obligation to state those information for at least for the first 3 people. Right. The rest of the people who really didn't perform better, we didn't bother putting all of that information. Yeah. So and we put the information there. So if somebody who read the report has leaked some information to you, well, then you are a good man.
I'm privileged.
Yeah, you are privileged. You are blessed. You are privileged, man. You are blessed, boy.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, big brother. So it's true that he offered to take as low as $500. You know, and I know that is.
I'm not confirming what you're saying. I'm not confirming what you're saying, Joe. I'm just saying to you. We wrote, when we asked people, what is your salary expectation? People told us what their salary expectations were. When are you available? There were people who said immediate. There are people who said 2 weeks, people who said in 30 days. And we provided that information to the executive council. So if people have said things to you, well, I can't comment on that one.
Okay. For the sake of the records, I will intentionally ask the question. So, $500, Thomas Jala proposed that he will accept, and that's my understanding. So I will keep my assumption. The other assumption I have is that Victor Kedor also proposed that he will take nothing less than $1,000 to $1,500. Do you care to comment on that? Also, it's in the report according to the.
Again, I'm not going to confirm what somebody told you about Victor Kedor. But let me say this. When you go to interviews and they ask you what your salary expectation, does not necessarily suggest that's what they will give you. There are set criteria. And that's also, in HR practice, that's also a determining factor whether in fact you can be higher or not be higher. Because maybe we got in our budget $1,000 that we will pay you. Okay. And you say you can't take less than $2,000 take home. The question is going to be, are we able to negotiate with this person to come back to $1,000? Those are things people look at. But it's an obvious question they will ask you. I've been asked that question a million times. What's your salary expectation? If I have a boss who said I will not call on this platform, said when Mexico first came in this country, because it was headed by somebody we all worked together in one organization, we all were trooping there for a job. And then he met me and said, Isaac, I went for the people go ask me how much I want. I told them what I wanted. But then when I went by, I saw the contract. They were not even half of what I was asking. I said, but they will not give you what you asked for. It will give you based on policy. It's based on qualification and experience. And sometimes we say salary is negotiable. In that case, you go to negotiate. But in this case, we didn't mention anything about salary to say is negotiable, is this, is that.
Yeah. I also see, but I also have a little experience. I also have a little experience in the hiring process.
Yeah, it's up to the LCL to discuss with the candidate nominated. What is the salary? What are the benefits?
Right.
And everything else. That was in part of our TOR.
Right.
Jerry, Joe, quickly. Joe, I'm not cutting you off, but I just wanted Woody to acknowledge that the bishop-elect is watching, and we appreciate him being here. So just to let you know that my bishop is here, because none of you here, Pastor. I don't want you to.
No,
Reverend, you're not getting that. So
Reverend Yakwaso, the only Reverend on set. I think sorry to say that I think you are a little bit late because I'm monitoring very, very clearly with eagle eyes. I saw the bishop elect comment and I flagged it.
Okay, that's why
I
I
did.
just want
I
to make
did.
sure I announce that.
No,
Yeah.
I did
Okay.
flag it. I flagged it. And this is the third time I'm flagging it.
Thank you,
So
Willie.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Bishop Elite Patmo. We appreciate turning in to watch the show, your show, the LCL show. We appreciate it a whole lot, and your comment as well. So we get back to our conversation, Sion brother.
Yep, yeah.
The whole thing about people proposing their expectation in terms of what they receive as salary, as wages, as remunerations, is not just for formality in the interview process. Given my little experience, and I know you know that as an HR expert, people cannot be unreasonably, they can make unreasonable expectations, and the HR team can also have concerns about that, especially when it falls so far beyond the expectation of the recruiting process. I'm asking these questions from the economic standpoint. And my understanding is that Victor Kedo, I think, was selected by your committee as then to be corrected, to be recommended, for appointment. And if some of these assumptions I'm making, I'm not also putting it squarely to you that it is true. But my understanding is that these are all contained in your report. And if these are contained in your report, then the numbers are off. And these assumptions I'm making here, it means that from the economic standpoint, this wouldn't be right for the church at this point in time, because we are in a national state. I don't have to school you on that. You can even explain better to me. We're no longer a mission church. We're no longer a mission church. We are looking for money, with our blood in every nook and cranny. So if we have an offer of somebody who is so experienced, somebody like Dr. Jala, who was the general secretary of FECAWA and other regional religious grouping. He's a pastor of the church. He's, a strong, seasoned administrator. I thought that would be an opportunity for the church for somebody like that to serve. I just thought to flag that out. Don't you see an economic issue here? If we are supposed to be meeting Mr. Kedo's expectation and considering the proposal from Dr. Jala, if these assumptions are anything to go on, don't you think so? Realistically, I want you to answer from your conscience, not giving me the policy. Yes.
Okay, Joe. The fact that the committee nominated or recommended one person does not necessarily mean that person has a job.
Great.
Right?
Great.
When we went through the process, we sent a report to the appointing authority. They had the authority to inform the person that you are the one being nominated. Now, several things goes into that, and I will just give you a quick experience. When we did an SES, you know that it used to be published. Your annual salary will be this amount. Your annual salary will be this amount, giving the position, right? There were people that went through the process and everything else, and offer were made. They said, "I'm sorry, I can't take it because of this." The church, if Kedo is the preferred candidate, the church doesn't owe Kedo the job. No, if the Lutheran Church Liberia can afford to pay him based on what he wants, we don't owe him anything. Then you look to the next people. That's how it works. So I don't see where the argument is about, oh, this is economic. There's no economic.
No, there's argument. There's argument.
Well, I told me now, Joe.
Here's the argument,
I'm telling you from HR standpoint, we're not obligated to him.
No, you are not.
Good. So when you make the offer to him,
I have clarified here's my argument. My argument is the recommendation should not be made in the first place when we have somebody who is rightfully positioned for the job.
The issue, you're not looking at one side. The issue is not just a salary. So that's why when you do an interview, even big institutions do that. When you do an interview, you recommend the first person. If that first person, like I was speaking to you in the SES, that were people that we recruited, we made a recommendation, we made an offer. They came back and said, "You stay $2,000. I'm sorry, I can't leave my job for $2,000." There were people who offered $3,000. They say, "I'm sorry." So it's the same thing. So if this person who's nominated feels that the amount the church offer me is not something that I'm prepared to take, I can't leave my job for that, we look to the next group of people, the next group of people in line. That's how it works, Joe.
My last question. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
publish your scores? Can you publish your scores? We need the scores to be published. It's good for your then
I
committee.
just responded to Willie on that. I've told you I don't have the authority to do that. I will speak to the appointing authority. If they say yes,
Right.
we'll publish the scores.
Right.
What
That
do
is
All
my
right, okay.
request. So my request is, please ask the appointing authority
I
in the
just
form
said that,
and
Joe.
manner, no, in the form and manner that they see this as something very significant in addressing the
But you
question.
just said the vote. You and Willie, and Reverend Yapasua try to play a little bit of politics with this. That the bishop event is on the show.
Yeah.
So in my view,
No.
wait, listen, Joe. Listen, Joe. I'm saying to you, when I speak to the appointing authority, the bishop elect can confirm that yes, I was there. The request was made. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay. So I'm glad. Let me repeat it. I'm very glad that the bishop-elect is watching, and I hope the bishop-elect can take note of my question about ensuring that the scores are published, and it will be in the best interest of the entire church. So, bishop-elect, I'm so glad you are on, and this is a formal request from me as a Lutheran. I'm asking you to also play a role for the scores to be published. The other thing I wanted to say to conclude from my end, in terms of my questioning, is that Thomas Kedor's role in the shortlisting process and Naomi Ford Wilson's role on the committee really rendered the committee's job questionable. Not you, Mr. Govego, because you play your role, you were asked to play your role that you play. But the role of those two people on the committee makes the report of the committee questionable. And I'd like to conclude on that.
And it's your right to say that, but I disagree with that one. Because from
Thank you.
HRS standpoint,
Thank you.
the appropriating was just done. I just told you from HRS standpoint, you can treat it two ways. Either you do full disclosure or you recuse yourself. In this case, that was done. On the issue of G. Henry Koluba, I saw G. Henry Koluba works for the Lutheran Church in Liberia.
It's
But
no
his document, he said, well, doesn't say that.
He does. And the fact that he didn't include that on the document, the fact that he didn't include that on the document that he also worked for the Lutheran Church, the committee was
disqualify him automatically.
The committee was supposed to question him on the basis of that. The fact that he didn't have information.
So you see, Joe, and no matter how you twist this thing, I'm not going to say some of the things to you that happen in the room. I'm not going to do that.
That's what I want you to say, Mr. Chairman.
It's unprofessional. No, I'm not going to do that. We did our best under the circumstance to be as professional as possible, and that's what we did. If people don't see the report as being credible, for whatever reason, that's their choice. But as far as I know, G. Henry Koluba document didn't suggest to us that he worked for Lutheran Church in Liberia, which brought into question too many discussions in the room, which made him when we even wrote people back. There are people who responded harshly to us that the fact that we didn't select them, who responded harshly to us. But I'm not going to disclose those things. I will not disclose those emails. But they know deep down in their heart what happened in the interview room, for which they wrote the room.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell me I can't disclose that, I can't publish that those emails. I'm not going to do that.
Jerry, I know you want to hold this thing here, Jerry, but can I just say something quick?
Go ahead.
I want to say to Mr. Govego, I appreciated one last thing he said, even though from the beginning he didn't see my questions so friendly, but there's one last thing he just said.
Look at my pastor saying that kind of thing again.
Yeah, there's just one last thing he just said. I appreciate it a lot, and it brought me more like an education, because he has just said, look, I must be honest, whatever decision we took in finding first person and recommending that person doesn't automatically tells us that we owe that person a job, which kind of, sent something like, educated me a little bit, because I would have said to myself, the fact that he was being recommended and endorsed by the executive council automatically say the LCL owes this person a job. But if the chairperson with all the HR experience can come back and say, no, that's not how it worked, even if we did that, there is still not any bounding on us as a body to say, because we have written this and endorsed it, that means we must. If at the end of the day, some of the discussions we have doesn't go the way we intend for it to go, doesn't automatically bound us to you. So thank you, Mr. Govego, for that education and that information. I appreciate it so highly. And then I just want to close, I'm not closing, but I just wanted to say, Jerry, when I get back to you, Willie, we have to flex some of the comments coming from Councillor Jerome Colette. I see he has written a lot, and hopefully,
where's Willie?
Yeah, we need to
go to the comments. Willie, can you
we need to flex some of his. We need to flex some of his comments, which will be highly speaking to some of the things that Father Govego is talking about. And I think Father Govego will be happy that somebody is there also in his corner.
That's why here we talk all things Lutherans, and we are fair and very transparent in our conversation.
The comments.
Yeah,
right. I appreciate the comments. The one I can't answer, I will tell you I can't answer this one. The one I can answer, I will answer.
Yeah.
Can we have Willie? Where is Willie? Willie is off. Willie, can you please come and put up some of the comments? This is fair enough. We need to see the comments from all sides. Our audience need to read the comments and familiarize themselves with the happenings, with the information necessary. This is my Lutheran Connection. If you just turn in, we come on every Sunday at about this hour. We discuss all things Lutherans. We got people watching all over the world, from the U.S., from parts of Africa. We have a dependable follower in Zimbabwe, the Lutheran Church there also, they are following. Willie, can you start to put up the information? And in Liberia, across Liberia, we have our followers. We want to say thank you so much. You're great people. Let's continue to discuss matters that are pertinent to the growth and development of our church. And today we really appreciate Mr. Govego for accepting our invite. The last time we had some reverends here, Reverend Gogba, we have Reverend Molba Zeze. You know, this is so great. This is so great. So, folks, continue to enjoy the show. Willie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Willie, before you go ahead, I want to say to Brother Isaac Govego, or Father Isaac Govego, and Father Roger, we are so glad that you guys were able to show up. We know for the way, like the Father Govego was saying, that we trying to squeeze water out of
Father Roger, and Roger, you are accepting that publicly?
Roger, are you not Father?
I'm not accepting.
Okay. Brother Roger.
Say brother Roger.
Okay, Brother Roger. Sorry.
Jerry, don't put Roger in problem, please.
The two people
Thank you.
Thank you
for the correction. Thank you.
No problem for Roger.
I want trouble. I want to bring fire.
Willie,
Yeah, folks,
Willie, do you have some calls?
Yeah, so unfortunately, this also, happens. It happens all over. In our entire neighborhood, we lost power. I don't know, they carry on some work. So
yes.
I'm using my phone. So, and unfortunately, even our base phone is out of power. So unless maybe if one of our staff members can, use their line, or maybe our viewers can post their questions and we can read them out. Yes, unfortunately, we won't be able to take questions to calls.
NEC in your state?
Yeah, we actually have Georgia Power, but sometimes when they are carrying on some maintenance work, they, turn off the line. So,
Jerry, you have access. You can show the comments. I'm looking at the comments, but I don't have.
Yeah,
access.
no,
Jerry,
I can show the comments if they ask when our viewers ask questions. I can show the comments, but I cannot take calls today. Yeah.
Right.
So viewers, please,
great.
if you can post your questions.
I was asking for you to just
section.
queue up the comments from Councillor Jerome Colette.
Okay.
I know, yeah, he's one person who has been writing a lot here today.
Yeah, Colette, yeah.
So,
and
I will just jump in quickly with my questions, and I can focus on the comments. My question actually is in the form of a comment that I want to join my colleague, Brother Jokai, that the committee and those in authority, the authority committee that Father Govego spoke about, can see reason, because this is a church. That's one thing I want to put forth. This is a church. We need to be transparent in our doings. We are not saying that we should go ahead and put out those who apply, put out their social security numbers and everything, for the public to see. But what qualifies an individual? What we are doing, because the scripture says that we should be the light of the world and we should be the salt of the earth. So I want to join Brother Jokai, that we should, make public the necessary information, so that some of these like the doubts that people have, can be cleared out. Because again, we should all remember that we are a church. We shouldn't do things like the secular people would do. So if there's any other information out there, or anyone has a concern out there, wants to see the information, like the elections committee, like they did going to our bishopric election. The election committee they came up forth and they displayed those information that were necessary, and then people had clear information, and they made things public. They did not publish like some very sensitive information, but they went to a very large extent to publish information that cleared the doubts of a lot of our church members. So I just want to add my voice to Brother Josiah Jokai, and my concerns that I had. All of those questions have been asked by our viewers on the issue of conflict of interest. I see there as a serious conflict of interest, that Brother Kedo shouldn't have been on the committee from the very onset. And since Naomi leaving from office and having her special assistant, Brother Henry Colbert, applying, she should have recused herself, and that making the committee two persons. Then the committee should have contacted the appointing authority, saying, look, we are only two people. Can you find three more people so we can do our work effectively? That's what I want to point out.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if Brother Roger's gone. I wanted to just throw something at him. Whether is he still on?
Brother Roger went out. Yeah.
Okay. Then that's great. We'll get back to him. But unfortunately, we cannot have calls, and we again want to say thanks so much to Father Govego. I think Reverend Yapazo was concerned about Councillor Jerome Collet. Can you just lift his Councillor Jerome Collet, not Thomas Pay? Can you please lift his comments so we can see what exactly he's trying to say? So maybe it may be some constitutional issue he's trying to raise.
So, Brother
okay,
so if our Reverend can read that for us, please, because my screen is very small.
Oh yeah, he said people commenting on this program need to understand that most times appointing authorities in the church are limited in options of willing and available personalities who are capable to perform these scope of tasks.
I disagree.
Ready. Okay.
So I think he's saying, if I understand,
no, go ahead.
I think he's saying.
You disagree? Can I make a comment quickly on that one? I hear
he disagree. And I say I disagree because in this very case, that is not the case. It doesn't apply to this case. It is true that there are situations where you don't find the qualified people, but in this case, it's different.
But Joe, listen, Joe, it's not about qualification. Let me tell you.
Apply with qualifications. That's why you even drop some people, and that's why
Joe, let me tell you how you got Constitution today.
In this case.
Let me tell you how you got Constitution today. When the Constitution Committee was appointed by the late Bishop Harris, there was some group of people who said it would have been manipulated by us. And they dissolved that committee. They reappointed the committee. Yeah. Okay. Yes, and I was sympathetic with those who were making that argument, because when you draft a constitution, you take it to the people who appointed the committee, it's reviewed and accepted. So for somebody to have just out of the blue sky made that kind of conclusion, I thought that was a little bit odd, but that's okay. When the new committee was constituted, we worked for a short period of time. you could not get people coming. I was under pressure to produce the report, to produce the constitution, which was incomplete. Every Sunday, I had to ask my wife to prepare food with water. I carried to St. Peter's compound, ask members of the committee to stay at least an hour or two. That's how we got the constitution completed. And you see people, when these things come out, they put in a committee, they don't reject. But their availability is the problem. And I have said, if you talk to Bishop Jensen now, outgoing Bishop, he will tell you. Sometimes he asks me to chair a committee, even the board I care. I ask him, if you allow me to nominate some people who are willing and have capacity to do the work, I will. If not, I'm not prepared.
All right.
But it's not that people are not qualified. People are qualified, but who's available? That's how you got constitution today. We have to be doing that.
I think with
if I not done that, we're not going to get constitution.
Brother Collet is talking about candidates. I don't think he's talking about committee members, and that's why.
No, he's not talking about candidates. Read it again. Read it again.
Okay.
No, Joe, read it again, please.
Put it up, Willie.
Yeah, put it up, Willie. Let Joe read it again.
Okay, so he has two comments here. Let me go back to the first one that he. Okay, yes.
Yeah, people commenting on this program.
You got that one, Mr. Govego. You got that one. All right.
Okay.
You're right.
All right, good. Joe has considered. You see, I like that. I like by Joe. When we talk, if he run, he will concede.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are nearly concluding now. We almost, I think, got roughly 2 or 3 minutes to conclude. We'll get our closing comments. But before that, Woody, can you please take this down? Before that, we would like to say, Woody, okay, you told us that you don't have calls because of the situation right now. So we want to apologize to many of our listeners and viewers who have loved to call, but this is the situation. And I'm not too sure. Can we hear from Abim? Because if you can put Abim number, I don't know if the people from Liberia also want to call, perhaps.
Yeah,
but
we can. Well, yeah, we can try that. Let's try to take few calls, especially those from Liberia.
Yeah, 1 or 2, then we can just close the show. One or 2 calls from Liberia.
We can't keep Mr. Govego beyond.
But Joe, yeah. Do you know why I insisted that we read a couple of the comments from Councillor Jerome Collet? You know, I knew very well that Mr. Govego was going to be excited, but you see, because you know the former council chair, you know,
and they all from St. Peter's. Yeah, they all from St. Peter's.
Of course. So.
you know, I'm a, Reverend, let me just say this, Reverend, I'm a cool guy, and so when it is right, I say it's right. When it is wrong, I say it's wrong. The problem I got with my senior brother, when it is wrong, my senior brother will find a way to spin it. And you don't spin everything. You don't spin everything. Not everything you spin. When
that's too interesting.
You can spin everything.
The former council chair is back in the other former council chair.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's true. And let me ask a question. Is Emma Smith still part of St. Peter's?
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
I see why. You see this thing?
It must be also commenting from St. Peter's. It must be commenting from St. Peter's.
I see why the comment going. I see why the comment going the way it goes.
Yeah. Jared, don't go there.
No, I'm not going there. Emma is a good brother. But Roger,
no, Jared, the honest truth is what Emma Smith have just said. It would be unprofessional for me to come on this show, besides giving you the criteria and start disclosing scores for people. Not fair.
Yeah, and that's why we say it's better when you publish it. When you publish it,
we know that. That's the reason why we ask you to publish. And
it's a
we are not asking you to get through. Yeah.
No.
We know that.
Look, this would be. Let me say this to you. Honestly, if people got issues, they should raise their issues. But beyond that point, if you want the information published, ask the appointing authority. They got everything. All the documents that went into this process, they got it. We read a report with all the attachments, the criteria for shortlisting, who all was shortlisted, who participated, who went to the test, who participated, the test scores, the interview scores. They are all there. The test papers, I have them here. I can show you
No, you don't want to show
I have
those.
the photos here for everything. You see the photos here? I got everything in here. The questions, the answers, and everything. I got it right here. But I'm not going to publish it to anybody.
So Father Govego, I want to ask a question because we want to follow up on this. I want to ask a question quickly.
Wait before you come in. Wait before you come in. Abel, do you have a call?
Okay. Who do you refer us to? Like the appointing authority, who do you refer us to make sure that
incoming?
Bishop Sinklo is still in office. He the one who received the letter from.
No, right now there's no call yet. I'm only watching the Govego.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should we go to
watching?
So if we cannot get directly to the bishop, I know we can get to Sis Naomi. You think Sis Naomi is the next person that we should contact?
I think those are administrative stuff. Whether we can take care of that.
Yeah, we can look at that. But let me just
Mr. Govego will help us in that direction of the show. He's willing to do that. He's even willing to talk to the appointing authority, the possibility of publishing the school. So
Roger. Roger, I mean, I just want to raise a point with you. I listened to you very keenly, and I don't want this to slide. I try to see if I can, understand clearly from you what point you were trying to drive home, because it is very key when you say that, number one, you don't want to follow on the process, and number two, when you say that person like, for example, Kidor, person, for example, I think Arthur something, one of the committee members on the committee, they would not have given you the kind of score, and they do not want to see you going further. That is a very strong accusation, so to speak, of two committee members, not the chair. Don't you think that is a sufficient ground for you to, in a form of protest or in a form of, discontentment, raise this issue with the appointing authority or appointing committee on this entire process? Because if you got people on the committee who, for obvious reasons in your mind that wouldn't have for any reason whatsoever score you to go to the next stage, don't you think that is sufficient ground for you to take some action?
You are right, Jerry. You are 100% right. But I want the audience to know for sure that because people been saying that I failed tests, they never understood how the score came about and how I was disqualified. They don't understand that. And Father Govego have make it very clear tonight that our CV was given to committee members, and individually committee members marked our CVs and graded us. On the basis of that, I got the score I got and did not move to the next stage. And I'm saying here, and I will continue to say this, as professional as the chairman on the then committee is, in terms of HR thing, will look at my CV and people grade me the way they graded me and let it slide like that. I'm not going to waste my time on that thing. I'll leave with that conscience. Tomokido will never give me the score that he should give me when his brother is there as an applicant. After that, I know, always be a loggerhead during campaign time, he would never give me the score that I deserve. They will turn it down. Okay. Whatever the case is, let it be.
Okay, you don't want to go further.
That's you are a victim of these circumstances. You are saying you are a victim of these circumstances, Roger?
Let me say this. I also believe that as much as I say I'm not going to respond to Roger's allegation, Roger was also fair to himself. He knew the committee members. He should have made that report. He should have raised that issue. If he felt strongly that he had problem with two of the committee members, he should have raised that issue, either with the committee or with the appointing authority. That's what people do. If you're not comfortable, you raise the issue and don't wait until at the end of the day, then you come back. That's payment. You should have raised that issue and see what happens. You should have raised the issue that these two people on the committee have applied, but I got issues with these two people. And I don't think I'll be fairly treated if they are on the committee. You should have raised that. He didn't raise that with the committee. He didn't raise that with the appointing authority.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I'm just hearing it from Roger that he and two of my colleagues have personal issues. As far as I'm concerned, we were there to do a professional job.
The point about emeritus, I never had a slatted thoughts that individual on a committee with great applicants. All I thought was teamwork together when you supervise it as head of the committee.
All right. Okay.
But Roger, that's how it works. Everywhere they study the score 8 and then they take the highest score. That's what they do.
All right,
my brother.
All right. All right.
So, Jerry,
we hope. Jerry? Josiah.
Jerry. So the point I want to make, maybe a closure to this aspect of the conversation, will be that, look, Mr. Chairman of the then committee, these are sufficient reasons why we want the scores published, because this is not a normal situation. In normal circumstances, normal situation, nobody will request for scores to be published after a recruitment process or a selection process. You know that very well. You know that question about publishing scores come about when there are credibility questions, when there are serious issues such as the ones we're talking about. So that's the basis for our request. And that is why we are asking you to ask the appointing authority to ensure that the scores are published. We're not saying it because we want to be unreasonable. No, that's not it. Under normal circumstances, nobody will be on this show asking for publication of the criteria, asking for publication of the scores. No, we wouldn't be saying that. But we are pointing to that particular request because, and we emphasizing it because of the current circumstance. So, Jerry, I just wanted to nail that, and then we can move on.
Edwin Weeder said he's calling Abel, but
I think Edwin can call you already. Can you call him?
Well, my two phones are read. My two phones are read before me.
Edwin
my
can
two
call
phones,
me. If he can call me, I can give you my number.
My two phones are read before me.
What
I'm saying is that I continue to receive every message as a missed call.
So Edwin can call me with it.
Yeah, the phones are here. I'm only seeing a missed call from Edwin.
All right. Okay. While we give you our closing statement, if and only if we have a call, we can still break through and then get the calls to come in, because time is fast spent and we don't want to keep Father ICGF Govego for a very long time.
The same brother Edwin Weeder is on the phone. I managed to get him on the phone.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, this is Edwin Weeder.
Yeah, go ahead. Everyone is listening.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
All right. Firstly, I want to congratulate the panelists and also the committee, but Govego and his team. I know every time things happen, sometimes we learn from our past, and the conversations we are having today might guide us when we move to our next phase, maybe in the near future in terms of selecting. I've been following the conversation about people who were on the committee that you have recused themselves. But I think the first thing we should have done is to thank and appreciate the committee for the job they did. And I was reading the comment also from Brother Smith, concerning some of the conversations that were had behind door with the committee and the interviewers. And if we continue to push things the way we are doing right now, it appears that we don't trust the ability of people who were appointed by the church authority to help us go through the process, to come up with a committee member, or to appoint or recommend somebody. That Brother Govego rightfully stated, in the long run, let's say when the offer is being made, the candidate will decide whether he or she wants based on what the church is going to offer. It's not what you want, it's what the church can offer. The church is not going to accept a candidate that they're going to be paying something that the church cannot afford to pay. So I'm just saying this to say, in the future, if we appoint a committee to do a piece of work, we should trust their judgment to help us in the process. I will follow if I have any following up concern. I'm definitely going to call back in. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Weeder.
Thank you very much, Brother Weeder, Edwin Y. Weeder Sr. I think your point is well taken. Actually, we congratulated the committee, but that is what the my Lutheran Connection platform is for. We are here to secure the facts beyond emotions. And we are just here to post the questions. And we post the questions, and I think Brother Govego really did extremely well in answering all of the questions. A seasoned administrator, a seasoned public.
Some of the questions,
yeah.
for the record, since we are recording.
Some of the questions, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, some of the questions, you know, the conflict of interest question was giving him problem, even though he tried to to rough around it. But I mean, that is why we're here, Brother Weeder, and we also want to say thank you, and we also give you the opportunity to make your comment. We accept every view; is very important.
Joe, did I hear you say some of the questions?
Yes, yeah, some of the questions. Yeah, I wish I was grading each of the questions.
I reserve my comments.
Yeah, let's talk that. Let's talk that off there.
So, Reverend, Father Isaac Govego want to say thank you. Brother Roger Abim-karmo want to say thank you. And this time around, we want you to, honor 1 minute, give us your parting comment. Brother Roger, you go first.
Okay, I just want to say thanks to the Connection team for accepting my request to be on the show tonight. And I'm highly appreciative of what you have done. But I will say this before I leave that the process, again, I will say over and over again, by allowing individual on the committee to decide our fit to go to the next stage, I think that process was not okay for me. That's the reason why, I did not move to the next stage, because people on the committee who were never going to give me a mark to go to the next stage, regardless of what they saw in my CV, even qualified as somebody cross, they were never going to let me cross to the next level. Whatever the case is, we want to work for our church. Okay, we passionate work for our church. We prepare ourselves for today. So if they would do what they did, so be it. There are a lot of opportunities out there. We have a lot of options, and we keep going for options and do what we can do. Whatever God says we can do for our church, God bless us with. We'll keep working for our church in different areas. And so thank you ever so much, and God bless you for the time.
Thank you so much, Father Isaac Govego. Can you please give us your parting comment?
As he gave a parting comment, can he just tell us the meaning of the GF?
My full name is Isaac Galapai Fokpa Govego. Fokpa Govego is the full name of my late grandfather from my father's side. So, thanks, gentlemen. I think so men running this show. So, unfortunately, we need to make it gender sensitive. That's my observation.
Great.
But anyway, let me thank all of you, and I want you to understand something going forward, and don't take my word for it. You need to speak to other HR practitioners. It doesn't necessarily mean that when you apply, you'll be shortlisted for every job.
No,
it doesn't work that way. No. And to start entertaining questions about who was biased against who, in the first place, we Buze people say, don't sit near your soup for it to waste, because you will eat dry rice. Right? So that's how it works. The process is that people are scored before they do shortlist. People are scored before they do final selection. When you go to interview, all of us, I'm sure all of you on platform been to interview before. You see all of the panelists sitting now, they're scoring you. They give you scores.
Of course.
Okay, and I know that we've done some evaluation before. We send it to the bank, and the bank send it back, and with comments. How can this particular person's score is higher than the rest of you? And all of those things went into the room, gentlemen. So it wasn't about Roger, it wasn't about G. Henry Kolba, it wasn't about Kedor or Reverend Jala or whatever. Personally, for some of us, our integrity was on the line. And we went there to make sure that we got one of our best. Because that office, if you have a weakling in that office, you make the office of the bishop ineffective, because they will be overwhelmed with work. They will not know where to start from and where to end. because that office is the nucleus of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. The bishop need to be focused on other bigger issues, and the day-to-day running. You might not believe this. There were people who will find it difficult to understand from there to differentiate ordinary secretary from that of the general secretary function of our church. So this was some of the things we went through, gentlemen. So it wasn't about who is this person, who's that person. And trust me, if Roger had brought that point to me or to the appointed authority, that I got issues with the two gentlemen, we're going to sort that out. Besides that, I think we should go beyond the issue of, I hear Roger say from the elections. You might not know this, but let me tell you, let me disclose the identity of the committee. All of you on the platform know that I was supporting Reverend Zeze with everything God has given me. Reverend Zeze didn't win. I said to myself and all of the candidates that if my candidate does not win, whoever wins, that's my bishop. I'm a Lutheran. So what? Right? So I supported Zeze. Reverend Dua told me he was supporting Reverend Goba. After Kwali wrote in the National Men chat room that he supported Reverend Palmer from start to end. I can't say definitively who says Naomi for Wilson was supporting. So the committee was just unique. So how was it possible that is the same man will convince a Palmer man, and then Roger, who we all know everything about him was about Goba, and Reverend Doa was a Goba man. You know, but let's put all of that behind us now. The election is finished. We now have a bishop elect. Let's see how we work together and move our church forward. And I've been thinking about, oh, you know, we had this, we had that. Since the whole process, I've heard some nasty things I never thought about doing. That's how I try to appease people and all of that. But I put all of that behind me. I really not worry about that. And I will close on this. In life, gentlemen, when you're doing something, make sure your conscience is clear. And when your conscience is clear, you're convinced that you're doing the right thing, go ahead and do it. We'll find no fear or favor. So whatever we've done, I stand by what we've done. I support it. Whoever has doubts about it can question it and we can go through it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Father Govego. Thank you so much, Brother Rogers. Reverend Yabazo, on 60 seconds. Your parting comments, sir.
On 60 seconds, quickly, thank you to all who came today, especially Father Isaac Govego. And I'm appreciated to our audience, man. Especially, I want to recognize the pastors here, man, because I'm a pastor, you know, Pastor Pei, Pastor Moba Zeze, the bishop elect, Patton, who is watching us from Guinea, and all the big brothers here, Edwin Weeder, you know, all the guys. I'm just so much appreciated. And I was thinking to myself, I said, I wonder is Father Govego who attracted it, because Father Govego here, all your men are here. See, so we're hoping, all your men are here, and they will stay here until what it costs. So I want to say thank you to all of you, and we appreciate that you came to give us clarity on this whole general secretary issue, and we appreciate the time. And I'm excited that we were able to get the team here to put all the necessary information for. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Willie.
Joe.
Hey, quickly, I'd like to thank Mr. Govego for the time, you know, spent with us and Roger. I think that was quite important. And again, it's just a classic example of how the show is balanced, is fair, and it entertains, you know, all Lutherans, views and comments, opinions from all Lutherans, you know, across the world. No matter the parish you come from, once you signal us, we'll bring you on, because this show is a trigger for development in the Lutheran Church. We're going to start doing things differently based on the conversations that we have on this show. It's a basis for people to become, you know, accountable to the people they serve, to the church they serve. So we don't want people to look at it differently. It's not personal. We are here, like we said, our role is to ask the questions, and the audience, who are the Lutherans, make the decision. So if I may make a closing statement on the discussion for today, two things stood out that Roger was, he mustered the courage to be able to say what his dissatisfaction is, and we should be able to do that and converse with each other in the presence of Mr. Govego. And Mr. Govego too was able to respond in the manner and form he did, even though he didn't respond directly to the question. He declined, but I mean, it was just fair enough that both of them had the opportunity to have exchanges to talk about the issues that matter. This is great. And I wanted to say to Big Brother Edwin Widow that we really recognize the work of the committee. Thanks for raising that again, helping us to emphasize, our commendation to the committee. But again, I want you to understand that our platform is here to trigger change. The new Lutheran Church cannot happen if we are not discussing the issues that matter. People must become accountable. When people are given responsibility, they should deliver consistent with the mandate given to them. And our show is here to provide an opportunity for those who they serve to measure the extent to which they provide those services that they've been charged to provide. Having said that, next week is going to be a firestorm. We're going to be bringing Big Brother Boxing on along with Reverend P, Reverend Marquet. They will be coming to discuss some issues, and it will be education. It will be educative. It will be entertaining as usual. We intersperse our conversation with fun, and we make the show and the conversation comfortable for everybody, to fit in and bring out the best, from within. So we want you to stay tuned. Make sure you don't miss next Sunday. It's going to be great, just as today. So, team, that's it from my end. Thank you so much.
Willie, under 60 seconds.
Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to the chairperson of the search committee, and also to our brother Roger Abim-karmo for mustering the courage to ask first, in the first place, to ask. And as the Bible says, ask and you will receive. So, and knock and the door will be open. So, the fact that you've asked and you came on the show, you got an information from the committee through the chairperson. We just encourage you to seek. And we all, the necessary information will be available. To the rest of the team, we want to say thank you very, very much. I just want to make this announcement that Aliyah will be moving to Philadelphia in come August. So that's a breaking news, and more information to follow. Thank you very much.
Aliyah moving to Philadelphia, you mean the next convention? Sorry, Jerry, you mean the next convention?
This August convention.
Oh, okay, good.
All right. So thank you very much. We want to say thank you to our hosts, Willie. We want to say thank you to all of our co-hosts. We also want to say a big thank you to our guests that accepted to come on the platform. And we also want to extend our appreciation to our viewers. And big appreciation go to our viewers and listeners in Lusaka, Zambia. We want to say thank you so much for relaying and listening. And this is my Lutheran collection, the platform that discusses everything Lutheran. Until then, we'll see you next Sunday.
Are we on the radio in Zambia now? Are we on the radio in Zambia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So I just wanted Mr. Govego to know that he was being heard tonight in Zambia on the radio in Lusaka.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And next Sunday, as my brother Josiah said, is going to be another firebrand issue with Reverend Wokolo Cully, Reverend McKay, Reverend Pay, and Councilor Boston Cully. And we are going to look at the constitutional issues that has to do with constitutional reform of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Don't miss it. Until then, we see you next Sunday. Goodbye.